This footage, taken by Mr. Fuentes, an engineer, is some of the most dramatic ever taken. This is the first hyperjump ever recorded. Again, in slow motion. As the people of Mexico prepared for what some call the eclipse of the millennium, due to the maximum duration of 6 minutes 45 seconds, one of the longest in history, one thing was certain. This would become the most scrutinized and photographed eclipse ever recorded. Unfortunately, many areas were blanketed in clouds, including the world's largest metropolis, Mexico City. Remarkably, minutes before the historical event was to occur, the volatile sky cooperated. The clouds began to dissipate just before the moon began crossing the sun's path. The city prepared for darkness. Shortly after 1 p.m., 17 different people, unknown to each other, in different locations, waited with camcorders in hand. Most were astronomy or history buffs, only expecting to capture the total eclipse on videotape. To the left of the bright object, and slightly above, a star, faint at first, beginning to sparkle in the darkening afternoon sky. In his black and white viewfinder, Mr. Laborde thought he was videotaping 2 stars. Across town, Mr. Laraguivel also believed he was recording bright stars. Laura Hernandez saw a glimmer of a bright object as the clouds parted. Miguel Angel Torres, in the central part of the city, pans skyward searching for the eclipsing sun and finds instead a shimmering stationary object. His camcorder reads 1:22 p.m. Padre Manuel Ferrer, a Catholic priest in the southern quadrant of the city, focuses on the luminous orb in the darkened sky. What a bright star, he thought. On the outskirts of the city, on a hill named Cerro de la Estrella, the mountain of the stars, Jorge de la Torre took this extraordinary footage of an object suspended over the bustling city. In this surreal setting, Antonio Flores taped this segment as the 5th sun proceeds through its final stages before the new sun, the 6th sun, emerges. The time is now 1:24 p.m. The sun is in full eclipse. Eduardo Mejia notices a glint in the ebony sky and zooms in to frame it. It's 1:27 p.m. after the moon has crossed the center of the sun and the hovering object still remains in place. Camped on the rooftop with friends, a TV, and their camcorder, the Aguilar family turns the event into a fiesta. Note that the camera's clock reads 1:04 p.m. in the beginning and 1:25 p.m. at the end. This indicates that the UFO, known in Mexico as an ovni, remained stationary over the world's largest city for at least 20 minutes. In the southeast zone of the city, hundreds gathered in the streets, including the Fuentes family. This footage, taken by Mr. Fuentes, an engineer, is some of the most dramatic ever taken. This is the first hyperjump ever recorded. Again, in slow motion. And once more. His camcorder reads 1:28 p.m. The object has now hovered over the city for about 23 minutes. It had been 180 years since the Anahuac Valley had been immersed in the shadow of the moon, and it would be another 270 years before a total eclipse would again blanket this valley in darkness. As the ancient Maya accurately predicted, a new age of cosmic awareness was at hand for the people of Mexico, who were now captivated by the unidentifieds in the skies over their city.
En el primer video. Sin embargo, no es claro.
An executive with Televisa, Mexico's largest television network, Guillermo Araguin, was the first to step forward. He explained that his location on the roof afforded an excellent view of the dramatic incident. Optical enhancement of the object he taped depicts a metal, disc-shaped craft. It is suspended in the air, and it seems to be floating, perhaps rotating on its own axis.
13 minutos
para
que sea absolutamente oscuro en estos momentos.
¿Cómo se ve el sol ahorita?
Ahorita se ve apenas una pequeña corona.
Sí.
Un pequeño anillo.
Sí. ¿En cuántos minutos ya?
Members of the Breton family gathered in Puebla, an industrial center 132 kilometers southeast of Mexico City. They planned carefully for this historical moment. Sunshades were readied, telescopes calibrated, and the cloth positioned.
¿Ya salió de la nube?
Ya prácticamente está oscuro. Sí. Prácticamente ya está oscuro, nada más se ve un filito de sol. El ambiente es muy especial. La temperatura ya es muy fresca.
As this home video demonstrates, they are about to have the experience of a lifetime.
La torre ya se prendió. A ver, se mete la sombra del planeta. Estamos viendo el planeta.
A ver, ya,
The Breton family recorded the silvery object at 1:22 p.m., approximately 85 miles from the location where Mr. Araguin took his identical footage. Optical enhancement and split screen is utilized to compare the segments taken by Mr. Araguin in Mexico City and Mr. Breton in Puebla. The two spacecraft correspond in size and shape. Were there two similar objects, one over Mexico City and another over Puebla? Or was there one object with the capability of a hyperleap of 85 miles accomplished in a split second, as demonstrated in this revealing segment taken by Mr. Fuentes?
Estrella, un planeta que se vio, pero pues de acuerdo a las pruebas que le hicieron, eso no es, o sea, no es un planeta.
Claro.
Entonces, la verdad ya no sé qué sea.
Sería difícil que fuera un globo.
David Alamilla, a young student, thought he had videotaped a bright star. While searching for the eclipse, he accidentally captured the glimmering object hovering below the vanishing sun, the billowing clouds, and the dim twinkle of a star. Alamilla's camera reads 1:29 p.m. Fallas de origen means that any flaws are in the original tape. Optical enhancement provides a closer view, allowing us to see details previously obscured. This is not a star, it is not a balloon, nor is it a recognizable aircraft. It is indeed an unidentified flying object, an ovni. In the northeast portion of this massive city, Laura Hernandez zoomed in on one object she thought was a planet. Slow motion gives us a better view, and enhancement shows a pulsating energy from the metallic craft.
Se vio muy raro,
Ms.
¿verdad?
Hernandez
Cuando
was surprised to
lo
learn that
acerqué.
she had taped a UFO.
No, no me imaginé.
Sí, ¿qué te está queriendo meter?
Miguel Angel Torres recorded this segment over the central portion of Mexico City. The enhancement shows a metallic craft emanating bursts of color, a corona effect we have not seen before. At the Televisa studios, the 6 best videos taken during the historic eclipse are put through comparative analysis. All are disc-shaped, structured, metallic objects that reflect sunlight. The masters of the stars could not have planned this better. At a time when all eyes were cast to the sky, 17 different people in different quadrants of the city videotaped an object hovering below the great eclipse of July 11, 1991. The sixth sun and the era of cosmic awareness had begun. Whether by design or accident, the UFO flap over Mexico City is, thanks to the video camcorder, the most documented mass sighting ever. The object or objects were seen and taped for a duration of 30 minutes.